Hi everyone, I think we're gonna go ahead and get started. First off, welcome to Ponca State Park. So excited to have you here. Just so everyone knows, there is a bathroom right down the hill. If you ever need to use that, just get up and stretch your legs at any point. Feel free. Just so everyone kind of knows where we're heading with this, we'll be hanging out here for probably about 10 minutes. And then at the end of that, I'll be going on a short hike around to a few of the key points that I'll kind of touch on in the next few minutes. So if you'd like to join me, love to have you. If you have any questions at all during this presentation, or even personal stories, personal experiences, would love to hear them. So feel free, raise your hand, shout it out. Definitely interested in all of that. So with that, I think we will dive right in. My name is Amy Husingfeld. I am a naturalist here at Ponca State Park. And today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite topics, and that is Ponca State Park history. Specifically, we're going to be talking about the history of the park as it relates to the Civilian Conservation Corps. So, has anybody ever heard of the Civilian Conservation Corps? Okay, a few tentative hands, gotcha. Hopefully, by the end of this, everyone will be confidently raising their hand when I ask that question. So yeah, we're going to be talking about this Civilian Conservation Corps, or the CCC, as it's commonly called. I just want to kind of set the scene for you guys of just how the Civilian Conservation Corps got its start. And it was a time that's pretty similar to what we're living in right now. So, taking you back to 1929, stock market crashes, the start of the Great Depression. Unemployment is rampant. People on farms are having a hard time too. It's the start of the Dust Bowl, horrible drought conditions, tough time to be a farmer, rancher, tough time to be American, honestly. So yeah, I think we can really relate after the past few years of what we've gone through. Pretty similar times that we're looking at right now. So as you can imagine, in the 1932 presidential election, there was really only one thing on people's minds, and that was getting the country back on track. So Franklin Delano Roosevelt wins the 1932 election. He's got a plan to do just what the people want, and that is called the New Deal. And as part of FDR's New Deal comes the Civilian Conservation Corps. So what FDR wanted through the New Deal, his system of programs to get the country back on his feet, he wanted to bring Americans work and purpose. He knew that while a lot of people needed money, welfare programs weren't necessarily the way to go. He knew, much like I'm sure some of us are feeling now, we need a purpose. We need something to do with our day. We need to feel like part of something bigger. So that's exactly what the Civilian Conservation Corps did. The CCC was essentially a work program for young single men ages 18 to 25. And it was really the best of all worlds. So what these guys would do, they would enlist, they would join a camp, and they would be sent anywhere in the country. Could be in their backyard, could be halfway across the country. And they would start working on public lands with conservation projects, public land development, projects like that. So it was tough work, but it was really, really good work. And a lot of men were very excited to join. And FDR got these men to join with the promise of a few things. So I have a few CCC recruitment posters that I'll show you here, and then I'll pass them around to everyone. And this kind of shows what the draw was. So not only were these young men getting paid $30 a month in a time where income was very tough to come by, but $25 of that was being sent straight home to their families, so they knew their families were being taken care of. So they got money, they got a place to live, they got 3 meals a day, they got companionship from men their similar ages, similar interests and everything. And they also learned some really important skills. So when I say that these CC guys did it all, I mean they did it all. they were in national parks, national forests, Bureau of Reclamation lands, wildlife management areas, state parks, all of it, all across the country, doing it all. They were building roads, they were planting trees, they were cutting down trees, they were making trail systems, they were building buildings, they were building shelters, they were making dams, riprapping lakes. They did it all. So they were earning money for good hard work that they were doing. For a lot of these guys, 18 years old, a lot of these guys, it was their first job. So they were learning these really valuable skills. They were learning, teamwork and camaraderie, but also actual practical skills. They were learning how to fell trees. They were learning how to lay roads, how to lay bricks, how to do trail maintenance. So they were learning all these skills that, yes, helped them while they were part of the CCC camp, but also would help them later in life so they could get a job doing this skilled labor. So really, the CCC established by FDR did exactly what he wanted it to. It created this place for citizens of the country to find purpose, to find work, to find income, to find skills to set themselves up for the future. So this was remarkable on a lot of levels, not the least of which was the speed with which it was implemented. So within 1 month of FDR taking office, the CCC had already started recruiting people. Can you imagine? Can you imagine a presidential candidate delivering on his promises within 1 month of taking office? That alone was really awesome. And it also involved all areas of the US government. So you had the Department of War that were recruiting these guys and establishing camps and order a system for them. Then you had the Department of the Interior, the Bureau of Reclamation, Department of Agriculture that were giving these guys places to work. So it was an absolutely insane cooperation of people and agencies within the government with the American people to work together to come out of this really dark place they were in. And we got to feel some of those positive effects of all that right here at Ponca State Park. So Ponca State Park, founded July 1934. Within 3 months of the park's founding, we had 225 CCC guys here working on creating the park. So they laid roads, they laid the trail system, they built bridges. They actually built the shelter in which you're sitting right now. Yeah, the west shelter here and the east shelter over by the center, both built by the Civilian Conservation Corps. I have a couple pictures here that I'll also pass around of the camps, the camp here that we had at the Civilian Conservation Corps. So you can see these buildings that were built. While none of them still stand today, the wood from those buildings was actually used to build some of our cabins, including the cabin I get to live in. So shout out to the CCC for building my home, pretty awesome. Here's a group of those guys that were working here at Ponca State Park. So really, without the Civilian Conservation Corps, Ponca State Park probably would have stayed just kind of a wild area with a few trails for quite a few years. But the CCC came in, laid roads so that locals and people from out of state could visit. They built a boat dock to lead down to the Missouri River so people could get down there, recreate, really enjoy the natural wonders of the world. So not only do we have the CCC to thank for kind of getting us out of the Great Depression and getting us back on a good path, but we also have them to thank for all the memories, all the experiences that we have, not only at Ponca State Park, but places across the country, national parks, national forests. So I want to ask you guys a little quick quiz to see how much you're listening. Who can name one thing that the CCC built here? Yes, the shelter you're sitting in. Yes, the wood for my cabin, exactly, my house. The roads, exactly, the roads you took to get here. So we can really feel the lasting impacts of the CCC. All right, well, I hope you guys learned maybe a little bit, learned why the CCC was so cool and important. If you'd like, I'm gonna head out on a hike to show you a few more places that the CCC built in the park, a few remnants of that, and also, if you're interested, a few more pictures of the camp that we had in the park. So I'd love to have you join me. Thank you so much for listening.